So, Chris, how's it going?
Good. Doing
Yeah,
great. How are
typical
you?
midweek. Yeah, good. Just doing all the work stuff and fun stuff. And we somehow swindled Ian to take some time out of his day to come talk with us about his awesome new game, Map Masters, which I got to play early with Ian, and it's really, really good. So we wanted to bring him on and ask him some questions about the game. Ian, how are you today?
Well, I'm doing fine. And, Sean and Chris, thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it. Glad to have you.
Yeah, we, any chance we get to talk to people who live, eat, breathe, and sleep games like me and this guy do, is always fun for us and an honor. So, tell us, how did you come up with Map Masters? Like, where was the aha moment where you were like, oh my god, I have a game?
Gosh, this is going to sound cliche, but I woke up with the idea. Um, and just to kind of, I woke up with this image of two cards together. Um, and that somehow they were interacting with each other kind of through common edges. So mechanically is what popped into my head quickly. And, I'm just using real cards as an example, but in my design diary, I scribbled out a very primitive connection of two cards. And then I sat there kind of over like a 10-15 minute period of time and kind of went, okay, so if cards are stuck together, why are they connected? And the idea of mazes came into my head pretty quick. And then pretty soon mazes led to dungeons. And why do players want to go into dungeons? Well, it's to get money and treasure and defeat monsters. So that's
Sure.
kind of how it all came together. Um, yeah, I wish I had a more inspired story, but
Hey, that's as you said, that is the type of story I've heard from a lot of people many, many times. And as somebody who also came up with maps on a card 20 years ago in my first game, I can tell you it's hard. I thought it was super cool, and I didn't execute it very well. So when I saw you do it 20 years later, I went, "Wow, he did it!" Like you nailed the part, right? Your interpretation and who did it first or who did it best. And I'll say I did it first, but you did it best.
oh, thank you. I'll put a credit in the rule book next time, right?
Yeah, you could say,
Yes.
Sean said that my game's cooler than his. Quote.
Well, no, but don't I have to credit you the idea of the maze, on the cards?
No, when I put out my game that connected with cards, my favorite review of all time, by the way, it was a Board Game Geek review. It was the first one that I ever had of the first game I ever published, and it was rated a 1. It said,
Dear.
if I rated a 0, I would, and it pales in comparison to Carcassonne. And I always like to point out to people that I actually designed it before Carcassonne, but I totally agree that Carcassonne did it way better than me. Carcassonne introduced a whole bunch of things of using the negative space on the table with cloisters and stuff. Brilliant for its time. What I loved about your game is you don't do any of that. It literally is you lament over every card's paths and possibilities. And oh, do I want to use the top? Do I want to turn? And every combination I tried in your game, I was like, dang it, I want to do this and this and this, but I couldn't do it all. And that for me was the fun factor in the game. It just was.
Yeah. No, from a design standpoint, every card is pretty thoughtful. And, that speaking to a fellow designer, I'm sure you can appreciate that. I'm a mean designer though, in the sense that there's some good stuff on the cards, but sometimes you have to work to get to it. And inevitably you need the one icon or the one resource that you need to get all those things isn't on the card. So inevitably you're relying on how you connect it to another card for you to kind of harvest all the juiciness.
It makes a lot of sense. You're kind of using the market to plan ahead or think, and then you also know you got your deck, and maybe it comes up or it doesn't, but you got a little min max control there. It's definitely clever. There were definitely times as I was playing it where I'm like, I would have never played that here, or this combo doesn't work with this one, but now you know. It definitely rewards future plays,
Yes.
and I'm really digging it.
Cool. No, and, you do me such a service to have played it, and back when you were a publisher, you seriously looked at it from a publishing standpoint, so I will always be thankful for that. One of the tough things when you're doing anything creative is at some point you have to believe it's good, and it was my experience with you where I realized this thing really is good enough to get it published. So thank you for that.
Ian, honestly, the 3 or 4 games that I've seen and played of yours, every single one of them were publishable, and every single time it was circumstance or I had a busy queue or whatever. But, I love the fact that, between us and our friends and networks, we were able to get you published a couple of times because your games deserve them. They're fantastic. I'm jealous but I've never gotten to do one, and I'm gonna fix that someday. Maybe I'll design with you since I'm not publishing anymore. But yeah, I mean, super cool. I mean, I always think of I'll get the name wrong. The Beast Wizard game with the fences. Oh, what
Oh,
was that called?
Merlin's Beast Hunt.
Maroon's Beast Hunt. Yeah, I mean that game is fantastic. And Zev did that one, right? Over was that a it was not a Z-Man game though, right?
It was, when Zev was with WizKids,
Right, right. Okay. Yes.
so it's technically a WizKids game, but in my head, I've always thought of it as a Z-Man game, even though he wasn't with Z-Man at the time.
Well, now he's all played a Z and still out there chugging and kicking, and it's awesome to see him back in publishing after his little hiatus. And so he's somebody I look up to in the world and life goals. Maybe someday I'll be like Zev when I grow up. Probably not.
Yeah. So, uh, talking to both designers, because I've done a lot of play testing. Definitely, that's how I met Sean. So, when you're making, especially like Map Masters, when do you personally know that the game is done? When do you know
Wow.
that it is ready to be handed over and sent off to the publishers?
Boy,
I'm
you
all
make that
ears.
sound like it's an easy question to answer, man. Um,
He
you
brings the
know
heat.
I do.
I'm gonna tell you, I don't know the answer to that. I feel like there's a
Fair enough.
gestalt, um, that when you sit down with a playtest group and you're sitting there looking at the game unfold, when it's not ready, it's when you go, "Oh, crap, we need to fix that," or, that part of the game isn't working right. And I guess, if I go through a play test and people are having fun and I'm not having those, "Oh my gosh, something isn't working right" moments, um, I would say that's when it's done for me.
Mm,
Um,
Okay.
Now I might have to sit down and write the rules or edit the rules or
sure.
something, but I think it's that abstract that, I don't feel like I have to fix something anymore, and people are having fun. I think those are the 2 things I need to see before I say it's done.
Okay. So,
I think
as
that
far
answer.
as the
I think that
uh
answer exploded Chris's head.
yes. Oh, totally. Because I eventually want to get there where I can be a designer. That's my ultimate goal, and I know Sean's gonna help me out with that at some point. But as far as Map Masters goes, we were talking about design and everything on that. What do you feel the hardest problem you had in designing of this game that you had to solve to make this game flow the way it does?
You know what's awesome? I gotta throw this in here. We told Ian, like, right before, we're like, "Hey, don't worry, we're gonna throw you a
Yeah,
couple softball questions, and then we'll
softball.
look at your game." And Chris is just, like, bringing the bat,
Right.
dude.
This
No,
is
I know.
CNN.
I'm like,
This is
Hey,
CBS.
sorry, Ian. We didn't mean to sabotage you or
are
No,
you
anything.
no, no,
trying
not
are
at
you
all.
trying to, apologize for him?
No, I would
I
never
think so.
apologize for my good pal, Chris Taylor. Never, ever, ever apologize.
No,
Oh, gosh. Now you threw me off my brainwave here. Let's see.
well, that's okay. I
Do
tend
you
to
mind
do that.
repeating the question?
Just with designing the Map Masters, what was your hardest design problem that you had to solve to
Yeah.
make that game flow.
I'm going to tell you, I forget how many designs I've worked on. The Map Masters is my sixth design published. I would say every other game I've done, there was some challenge somewhere along the way, something that was wrong with the game. I didn't really have that with Map Masters. I know that's going to sound funny. This was
Sounds
one of
great.
those games
Oh
that
no, that's
sort of
awesome.
it pulled me along and said, this is what the game is going to look like. And it was more me just trying to figure out how to get a prototype out there, how to get enough of a rule set that the game seemed to be fun and made sense. And there weren't any really serious roadblocks. That was the funny thing about it. Because every other game I've ever done, there was a roadblock somewhere. There was something we had to really work hard to figure out. And this one didn't have a lot of those.
That's great.
Cedric, who co-designed the cooperative part of the game, um, I mean, he did a lot of work on the market phase because my version of the market phase was pretty primitive and he really fleshed it out. And now I think it sings as kind of a mini game within the game, pretty really nicely. And then, the other piece, we didn't have a co-op when we started this game. And Cedric said, we need a solo version. So he came up with the co-op as a way to introduce a solo. And then he started playing with it and he realized, well, shoot, this is a whole different game. And for a while, he was going back and forth. Are we going to do the co-op? Are we going to do the competitive? And then he kind of realized, you know what? We'll do both. The components are the same. There's only a little bit of extra overhead, longer rule book. So then we
Well,
leaned heavy into
show the
making the
box
co-op.
is literally is
Yeah.
brilliant
I
because
seen that when
in
I was it looks amazing. I love that.
well, but
So
look
the
at how
co-op
they
here and the competitive here.
Yeah. Man, that's
and,
awesome.
and literally it could be on the shelf in both sections, both your co-op and your competitive gameplay, and both of them feel like it literally feels like there's two different games in the box. Just for those that didn't know, Cedric's with Captain Games. They're the publisher of Map Masters. Fantastic guy. Him and his daughter are just amazing people. They've just been super kind to me, to Ian. Just awesome
Totally
people.
amazing
And
people.
what an amazing developer, and to be able to have the vision, to kind of see your design and your brilliance there and to bring something to the table. Man, I got so much respect for that guy and for you. I mean, I think you guys have made something great. You got, I think you said you had an overhead. Maybe run
Yeah.
us through a turn.
And I would love to see how this turn goes.
Okay. Give me a second here. I got to figure
All
out how
right.
to
So
turn my
here's where we
camera.
do a little movie magic and
I'll see
pretend
if I
like
can throw another curveball at you.
exactly nothing ever happened here
Yeah,
while you were
nothing.
gone.
Yeah.
Just it just another explosion show, right?
Mind blown.
Nothing to see here, nothing to
Nope.
see, right? Like, I mean, we could sit here all day and make jokes, right? We can do whatever we got to do to make sure Ian's ready to go, and
That's right.
uh, I mean, I don't know. I don't have anything else fun to put on here. I was hoping I did, but
Oh, I'm
see,
sure there's a trigger somewhere that you could
well,
use.
if I was prepared, maybe, but I'm not.
Well, that's called being on time.
I'm never on time. I'm a chronic late Gen Xer, and I'm a slacker. I'm a hack game designer, hack publisher. I mean, I've heard it all my whole career. And, I'm going to move into doing videos with the exact same exuberance and
Quite
excitement.
change.
And
Quite change.
for JFan27 on Board Game Geek, this show's not for you. We'll
That's
make sure to
right.
cut that out, Ian. So don't worry,
No
27.
idea why I can't switch it now. This is
Well,
totally messed up.
even better reason for us to edit out.
That it's not your fault. This is just how the show goes.
It does. We have gremlins. They
We
affect
have
everything. It's funny. We have our friend Mark Street joins us from time to time, and he's a pro from the Dice Tower, right? They do, really cool wipes and transitions, and they're all smart, and they script and do all this, smart shit. And and he comes on, and we always have stall outs, and he's always like, You guys are
Yeah.
so professional. And we go,
Yep.
yes, and we're doing it right, you know? So,
All right, Ian. So you can show me a turn and see how this game works.
Fair enough. So just to recap, this is Map Masters, and it's the competitive version only. And Map Masters is normally played in 6 rounds, which is those turns you're talking about. And I'm just going to show you one round. Typically, the round is broken up into 3 parts. There's the market phase, which involves these cards up here. And then there's a build the dungeon phase. And I had a guy down in New Orleans basically call it the 5-card dungeon run. He liked that name better, and I think I do too. And then after that, you do a cleanup. So at the beginning of the game, you start off with 6 coins, which I've got here, and we would all take turns buying things from the market. So let's say, for instance, I wanted to, well, I should step back for a second. Right here, this is an objective card, and that objective card changes with every round. So in this case, I'd get a victory point for every room that my path went through. So with that in mind, I look up here and I go, okay, fine. Here's a card that's got 4 rooms on it. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to get rewarded if I go through those, so I'm going to go ahead and buy this card. And then we would replace the card in the market. So I got to pay my money though, so let me pay my 5 coins. Everybody else would go, and then I would get another chance to buy something. So let's say I wanted to buy with 1 coin, I'll buy a fairy token. Fairy tokens are sort of one-shot tokens for the purposes of getting through the dungeon. So in this case, I bought a scroll. Why did I buy the scroll? I've got magic teleporters, and you need a scroll to activate one of the teleporters to move from one magic circle to a different one. So I'm trying to plan ahead, basically. Now I'm out of money. Market phase is over once everybody either passes or has no more money. Then what I do is I've got a starter deck, and from here I add cards to the cards I bought to have a total of 5 cards. And then in that 5-card dungeon run, I'm putting these cards together to create a dungeon to maximize the number of rooms I've gone through. So as an example, maybe I would do something like, this may not be optimal, I'm not sure, we'll find out.
if the
Maybe I
designer
won't
of the
do
game
something.
says, my dungeon might not be optimal, that tells me that he had a shishy hand,
Yeah.
So
which
let's
can
say I
happen,
do
right?
something like this, right? And you can see that you can offset these cards like this. You can play them upside down or right side up. You just can't play them like this. So then let's say I start off my run and I'm drawing on these cards with the dry erase marker. Start off my run here. I came
Wait,
to a
hold on a
teleporter.
second here. Hold on a second here. And the developer in me is about to have an explosion moment here. Did you just say you're going to use a Sharpie to draw on your cards?
Dry erase marker.
Okay, back the truck up. You mean to tell me you guys found a way to use a dry erase marker on playing cards that doesn't ruin them, stain them, leave a bunch of residue, leave a little imprints, color imperfections back? Tell me more.
Well, basically, I mean, this is Cedric being a good publisher slash developer. We originally, when I showed this game to him, I had sleeved cards, and I drew on the sleeve for the routes, which works fine. But as you point out, sometimes you don't get a clean erase or something like that. He took that seriously, and he went to a lot of different factories and basically said, can you come up with a finish that will allow us to write and erase on cards repeatedly?
Wow.
And the pen, this pen comes from some manufacturer in Italy, so it's sort of a special dry erase pen. And then he jokingly said that he wrote on the card and erased repeatedly 600 times. And each time the
That's
card,
thorough.
erased clean.
That's
Oh,
amazing.
shoot. I'm sorry, the glare.
No, no,
There you
I
No,
go.
mean,
you're good.
I don't
Yep.
see any marks. Like, this is, I
That's impressive.
as a production guy my whole career, like, that is I'm super mega jealous that I never thought of anything that cool. And I gotta tell you, for anybody who doesn't know Cedric or Captain Games, the amount of care this individual puts into his games. Um, I hear you say he wiped something 600 times to test it, and I will tell you 100% I would believe that. Um, I This is a guy who worked on the Battle of Hoth and freeze framed Empire Strikes Back to get the poses of the walkers for the miniatures in that game. I'm telling you right now, people like him, people like Brian Bromiller with his Lord of the Rings, the people that love these fandoms so much that they put that much of detail and care into a game. For a designer like you, has to be a dream to be able to go, wow, somebody understands my vision. They understand my game, what I want it to look like and be. And I mean, I'm over the moon happy for you, Ian. You have to be over the moon with how cool this game is.
The production value on this is way up there, and I'm it so exceeded my expectations. I started off with these sleeved cards, so here we are with these beautiful cards. The artwork is amazing. Um, Adrian, our illustrator and graphic design guy, he so nailed it. I mean, you look at this cover,
That's so
he got
beautiful.
a lighthearted kind of cartoony feel to a game that, could have gone very dark with something, Dungeons and Dragons like.
No, no. The
No,
only
he's
reason
there.
I came over is because this just came out at retail and I went and bought a copy. I got my copy right here. I mean, I haven't cracked it open because I played on your copy, but I'm not talking just to talk. This game is phenomenal. I mean, it's in my
Thank you,
collection
Sean.
for a reason, and I can't. I love the fact that you're in Denver. I've known you for years, coming to the local conventions. I mean, I couldn't be way more excited to see another Denver game designer getting the accolades they deserve and getting just an amazing production. And this is just so cool to see you in your element. It's just awesome.
Well, and Denver, it's probably a hidden gem in terms of game designers. There's a lot of really amazing designers here. Um, you got Mike Fitzgerald up in Erie. You've got Scott, of course. I mean, those are just two I can come up with off the top of my head. I'm sure you can come up with a dozen more.
Well, every year we see him right at BCon. So we've been hosting a little prototype alley for, gosh, this was BCon 10. So I don't think we had prototype alley in the first year because, well, we weren't even supposed to be running a game convention. It was supposed to be a 1-day game event. Chris and I were like, screw it, let's just keep the hotel all weekend. And that's kind of how BCon started. What's crazy is, I mean, I've seen you at every single one of them, and every year it feels like you've had a design that's either been in the top 2 or 3 finishes of the design contest or somebody signed, like a publisher signed out of the things. Same with Scott, right? I mean, and so many different people. Yeah, it's super cool to have all you guys around. I remember Carl Finner used to go to a lot of the meetups, and um, Heather Newton, and there's a whole bunch of them on that side, right? That just have been doing the proto spiels and stuff for so many years. We just got an awesome community. We got a great charity here for gamers. Amazing local game shops that just always have play space, always want everybody around. Like, I always feel like Denver and Dallas have just amazing communities for playtesters, prototypers, game shops, stuff like that. So we're definitely very lucky to live in a cool place where gaming's so just ingrained in us. Portland,
I hear you.
Portland. Also.
Yep. Well, anyway, should I finish my run here, guys?
Yes,
Yeah,
please.
we got all like nerded out on the
Yes.
production. Sorry, we're gonna have to. Chris is gonna have to talk to me about that, right? If we're supposed to be looking at how game plays, I shouldn't be stopping you mid game to ask the
No,
nuts.
no, that was
Well,
I
but
really appreciate the design into the cards. That is something I have not seen, and I think you'll probably start seeing that more.
Well, Sean, you're apologizing for coming at this from a publisher standpoint. Um,
I can't help it. I'm a retired publisher, and I never thought I'd say those words, but it's so hard, right? It's so hard to switch the way you think, and I look at your designs and games, and I want to know the nuts and bolts of how we got there. I don't, and that, I'm sure people watching this are going to go, dude, can you just let him show us how to play
Yeah,
this game?
yeah.
But
Just let him do his turn.
and just let him do his turn, you son of a gun. But hey, I don't know very many other how to play videos with designers and people that are going to come out this cool. So those people can deal with it. So Ian, we might call this in the biz that I stalled long enough for you to look at your map a little bit and make a route that was optimal. But show us your route that you came
Yeah.
up with on
Okay.
the fly,
Right.
Ian.
So one of the rules, you do have to start at the edge. So that's why I started where I did. And as I said, I encountered this magic circle. I'm going to use my fairy token to activate it. So I flip it over to remind myself I've used it. And then I'm teleporting over to this guy here. And then I collect this coin and I roll my way around here, collect more coins. Here's another coin. And now I've collected a sword. Swords are important for defeating monsters. Otherwise, a monster will stop you in your path. So in this case, though, I'm going to keep going. Maybe I'll collect that. Might come in handy. Collect another sword, and here's some ropes. Ropes are useful for jumping over pits. I don't have any pits here, but I could show that later if anybody's interested. Then I'm rolling over here. I could go down here, and I could encounter this lock. I'd need a key to overcome the lock. I don't have a key. So instead, I'll erase this guy, and I'll go around the locked area this way, collect another coin. Here's that key I was looking for, but of course I came to it afterward.
Right.
Here's another sword. I'll keep going over here. Notice I'm going over the lower level, the basement, and then I get another scroll, and then I decide to head up this way, get another coin, head up this way. I bumped into a monster. Good
You got a
news.
sword.
I've got a sword, so I'll get rid of that monster with the sword, and I'll collect a barrel. And now I ran into a lock. Now I've got the key,
Okay.
and now I can open the lock, and then I'm exiting my dungeon. Path, well, it allowed me to get 1, 2, 3, 4 of the rooms. Somehow I couldn't figure out how to get this fifth room. There's probably a way to do it, but I'm not optimizing right now. I'm demoing.
Well, the first thing I noticed on your path there is no residue. When you did that little mistake wipe off there, you notice that, Chris? No residue.
I did. Clean slate.
Sure.
Very, very important.
Yes.
I'll
Actually,
even do it again.
Now,
There we
when it
go.
comes to the monsters in the dungeons, is it always a 1-for-1, or are there other monsters that require like 2 swords or so on and so forth?
In the competitive version, it's a 1-for-1. One monster is defeated by one sword. In the co-op, you have missions where you're defeating a boss, and the boss in the co-op might require 5 swords and 3 scrolls and 2 barrels. So that kind of is the exception to the rule, but it's based on how the co-op works rather than,
Yeah. Oh, I like that.
yeah. So
that's awesome. Well,
Yeah.
what's awesome too is I think of this, and even with us chattering over here and explaining how to play and doing the drafts, these rounds, turns, which what you call them rounds, right?
rounds. Yep.
Yes, these rounds. I mean, if you're spending money to draft a couple of cards, you're drawing up your hand to 5, and then you're trying to arrange, and then you're drawing your path. They're not very long. This is a very quick game with some really good depth and thought going on here.
Yep. Yep. Well, and I could have gone, shoot, I screwed up. So maybe I decide to erase this card, flip it over, and go, I like this version better. So
Ah,
Gotcha.
it's meant to be fairly flexible and fairly friendly. Again, I think I like the way I had it originally, but I both ways I get 1 coin, so it probably doesn't matter.
So then, how would the end of a round work? You would score for anything that you found, obviously the bonus feature, stuff like that.
Well, as I said, I found 4 rooms. So over here on the scorecard, I'm putting 4. Then what I do is, believe it or not, you reveal a second objective. So in this case, it's swords.
So
And I
hidden, you
follow
didn't know if you were optimal, maybe you get some bonus points.
right, right. So basically, I don't know the sword ahead of time, but it rewards me for having collected a lot of things en route. I just don't know which I'm going to get rewarded for. So in this case, I got 1, 2, 3 swords. I still count this one even though I used it to defeat the monster.
Okay.
And so then I would get 3 more points in the pink column. The thing about the pink column is at the end of the game, I only get half those points.
Uh,
Gotcha.
Yep. Otherwise, it's too luck based. I did manage to leave the dungeon. So I would check this box here. Why do I care? Well, whoever leaves the dungeon the most times at the end of the game gets 2 extra points.
oh,
Whoever's second gets an extra point. And then there's the green part column. That's the speed round. When you have an hourglass like this, that's the speed round. And we all race to build our dungeon and draw it. Whoever finishes first gets an extra point.
ah.
Oh,
So,
okay.
Forced keeping the game on pace.
Yeah.
I
yep,
like
yep.
but it doesn't feel forced. It just feels like, ooh, there's an added bonus. Because, if you're like, well, Ian's played 100 times and he's way faster at that, I'm just going to punt on that point and optimize my thinking process. It's not going to come back to bite you. Probably. Probably. Although I will say, when I played you, I think I lost by 1 or 2 points. So maybe it did. But regardless, this is awesome. Chris, from what you've seen today from Ian, do you feel like you could pick up a game of Mac Masters and sit down and play with anyone right now?
Easily. I mean, the just that small explanation, I mean, it would be easy enough to put it on the table and explain exactly what needs done, and I think everyone is gonna get it. That's what I love about the simplicity of this. But like you were saying, the depth of it, and what I really appreciated was the replayability is astronomical. I mean, you're never going to see the same dungeon over and over again, and that's what I think really is going to make this game stand out. The only other question I had, noticed the 2 purple cards up in the market.
These are spell cards.
Okay,
Um, they cost 2 coins, and you're allowed to keep 2 of them max. They're basically reusable powers that break the rules of the game. So for instance, this one here, is it on? Yeah, it is on camera. This is a free teleport to a monster. Doesn't cost you anything to do it. You can only do it once around. And of course, the obligation is you have to kill the monster upon arrival. So
okay.
it does kind of
It
cost
does.
you a
Yeah.
sword to do it. This
But
one up
I can see
here,
where that gets you out of a bind, right? If you're drawing your path and you're like, I just don't have the right thing to get past that lock or a rope to get down a pit or whatever, you could always just, I could tap this power and bam, away you go. Oops, sorry, tap registered trademark of somebody,
Yep.
not us. Turn, turn, turn your car.
Yes.
Sorry,
I won't tell anyone.
I won't tell anyone either.
Yep.
Well, it's not in your game rules, so I can say it just talking because casual gamer table speak.
Yeah.
You can't, by the way. But
Well, as an example with my dungeon here, let's say had this spell book and I turned it right right before I left the dungeon. I could hop over here to that monster, use another one of my swords, and then get another room out of the deal. So yeah, the spell books are awesome. They do fun things, and most people, once they realize how the spell books work, they're like, oh yeah, I want to have a couple spell books.
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
totally, it feels like something I in future plays would probably load up at least one spell on my first or second turn just to have some mitigation of a bad hand or my bad playing of a something, just a little extra help. So I appreciate stuff like that because it just helps you from making an error.
Yeah. And
So
a
cool.
couple of other things to mention before, we leave it be. The coins that I collected en route, that's my money for the next round.
That's right. So if you focus on grabbing all the like relics to get through the dungeons, to get all the bonus points or whatever, and you don't grab any coins, you're not drafting next turn.
Right. So in this case, I got one, two, three, four, five, six more coins. Those are the six coins I use in the next round to buy yet more from the market.
So you
Yeah, that's a
definitely need to be
nice
more balanced
yeah, that's a
on
nice
your
blend.
turn.
Well, of course, because you can't do everything you want, because you also have to think a little bit about I got to get some currency for next turn. And you might obviously the market's up there. So you might look at it and go, well, I could afford the cheaper stuff and there's some options, but you also run the risk of player order, right? Somebody draft in front of you and all of a sudden, money to get what you need. I like that tension. I like that little bit of extra. Doesn't now make me feel like I'm playing multiplayer solitaire.
Right. Yep. Well, and finessing the market doesn't sound like it'd be as big a deal as as it turns out to be, but it is. Um, you know, I mean, I look at, for instance, this card here, and I can tell you this is one of my favorite cards because even though it's six coins, there's a lot of resources on here. Two swords, two ropes, two coins, two scrolls, and a key, two keys. It's tricky sometimes to collect them all, but that helps you through a lot of problems down the road.
I could see
And
that.
I'm not the only
Definitely need the
person who
options.
thinks this is a great card. Gwen, Cedric's daughter, this is one of her favorite cards too. So if I'm playing her, I know she's going to try to get that card if she can.
You hate that. That's amazing.
I like it.
Well, that's great. Ian, thank you for coming and hanging out and teaching us all about this and that in the cooperative game, there's a boss battle. And much like in our little cooperative video here, Chris has a boss and he's going to battle him if we don't let you go. So, on
That
that
is
note,
true.
we are going to say farewell, my friend, but please join us sometime, especially on your next game. We'd love to talk to you again and pick your brain. And man, hey, thanks for popping by.
Yeah, thank you, Chris. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Ian. I look forward to having Sean's copy at my front door next week.
That's never happening. When you come out and visit, we'll play it.
Yeah.
It's these are the kind of games that you know, when you have a little less time or you only got 2 or 3 hours at game night, I'm a big fan of being able to get three or four things into the game and seeing my little ones now all just at the age where they can start to enjoy this stuff. This is such a great gateway game, and I think you got a huge one on your hands. And thanks for making Map Masters, dude. I really appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome. And thank you for the part you played in it. This doesn't happen if you didn't look at it when you did.
Well, I'll have to tell Cedric that he's got to help me out with some Battle of Hoth because he got me hooked on that stuff. I saw him a couple of weeks ago, and I mean, I'm just telling you, it was like a kid in a candy store. I was playing Battle of Hoth, and I thought he was having more fun than I was. And I'm like, this is cool, man. And we were going, and he was like, play the Empire, go ahead. And I'm pounding the crap out of him, and we're blowing up everybody's. And then at the very last thing, I got him surrounded with AT-ATs, and I'm blowing. And he pulls off some like heroic thing, and all of a sudden he hits all the trophies, and I'm out. And I'm like, I had you on the ropes, dude. And he's going, rookie. Like, maybe try. Have you ever even hopped, bro? And the lineup coming out of captain in the next couple of years is awesome. And in my mind, you kicked that off because this is, one of their first and earliest releases, and it's going to be around for them and selling for a long, long time. So you should be very proud of this thing. It's amazing.
Well, thank you again, Sean. And I
Anytime.
really appreciate you guys taking a few minutes to have me on the show and to share the game with you. And Chris, I hope you get a chance to play it soon. I mean, it's one of these that I think once you play it, you go, "Oh my gosh, there's a lot here."
Yeah, I would definitely look forward to it. So, especially using Sean's copy.
There you go.
Awesome. Well, thanks, guys. We'll
Thanks,
we'll
Ian.
catch you soon.
Oh,